My name is Yemi Saka.
My name is Shola Rogers.
And together, we'll be taking you on a 30 minutes plus ride through the world of politics in Nigeria. There's a lot of things that's happening. At the weekend, the Ekiti elections took place. There were a lot of things happened there. We'll be talking about that. But we'll also be talking about the most popular words, catchphrases, or whatever you want to call it now. It's called placeholder.
In Yoruba, Biodun.
Biodun.
Let's see in Yoruba language, it's called Biodun.
Biodun. And of course, again, the talks of a possible merger or partnership between collaboration between Kwankwaso's NNPP and Peter Obi's Labour Party. We'll be talking about all of those things and any other thing that might crop up. But it is Political Voyage, and the time to talk is now. Now, quickly, Yemi, let's just dive right into it, and let's start with the Ekiti elections. There was an election at the weekend in a state that had 900,000 plus registered voters. We had a turnout of about 300,000 plus. And there's a lot of things to unpack with that, from pseudo registrations and all sorts of things to whatever. To apathy. So Yemi,
I think it's a fair turnout by the electorate in Ekiti State. Yeah, and I've been saying this, and I'll say it again. Apologies with no sense of remorse or regret. Ekiti State once again lived up to the reputation of the center for brazen display of vote buying. Yes, I'm not saying that's the only place that vote buying occur, or probably you have transactional electoral process. But the first time we saw it brazenly displayed was during the election, or the election which brought in Governor Fayemi for the second time. That was against Eleka, But now they raised the answer was up. The money that was on the table was also increased, and it was everywhere. It's not good for democracy. And I'll say this: if you keep justifying in any way you rationalize
in any form,
but either with what I would call beautiful nonsense, you want to justify this that act of vote buying. You lack the moral justification to demand good governance or to condemn poor governance or bad governance. And it's just, to me, it means and tells me that you probably indulge in this corrupt system because it's either it's preserving a corrupt system which is beneficial to you, or you're hoping to benefit from the corrupt system. It's not good for our system. It's not good for representative democracy. It's an aberration. It's against the tenets of representative democracy, and we must resist it.
So,
but before we go, to round up on that,
we're not rounding up. We're not rounding up.
No, for me, this line of thought, and I think I need to say this, and I will hold the federal government to the Ministry of Information are grossly irresponsible, and they failed the government, they failed the people of Ekiti State, they failed Nigerians by not coming up with enough adequate advocacy campaign against vote buying, and massively deployed in Ekiti State before the elections. And moving forward, I hope the National Nutrition Agency that has been dead under Alhaji Lai Mohammed will please have a lease of new life or a lease of life, and please live up to your responsibilities. Well, after Michael maybe, the NOA has just gone down the drain. No, has gone 6 feet down. Somebody needs to speak to Alhaji Lai Mohammed. It's not about just coming up with rhetorics and telling us what is not. These are responsibilities that it should live up to and serve Nigerians and justify the pay it takes home every month.
So the orientation of Nigeria has to continue, and it has to be done en masse. It has to be
regularly, with so much intensity. Because a lot of people will want to justify the voters getting things, because we can't come up with, you can't justify evil. You can't justify anything that is wrong. You have poor people that didn't take the money that was they were trying to induce them with, but it's annoying that you're not trying to let the people see that they can get out of the poverty once the governance they get from their people is good. And the politicians, and I keep saying, they are also irresponsible. No matter what, let INEC come down to Nigeria, or let's bring angels to Nigeria to conduct elections. Political actors in Nigeria will turn Nigeria to a political Sodom and Gomorrah. They will corrupt those angels. It's not about being desperate. You want to serve your people. If you put yourself up, you offer yourself for good governance. If they're not going to take your good offer, why do I need to pay you to make me do good for you? Am I Jesus Christ? I didn't die for your sins, so I won't pay you to do good.
All right, you're still listening to and watching Political Voyage. If you're listening to us and you want to put a face to these voices, especially the very handsome and very available Yemi Saka.
Am I available? Are you sure about that?
I don't know. I'm just talking. It could be a rumor, you know. So
fake news.
Yeah, it could be fake news. Please check us out on Facebook. Search for Yemi Saka on Facebook. You can also search for Boom Bedu on Facebook, search for Boom Radio NG on YouTube, and we are also on Twitter, so you can actually watch what's going on, and on Facebook and YouTube. So Boom Radio NG, we're streaming live now. You can leave a comment too, ask us questions, and of course, please remember to follow us and follow and like Yemi's Facebook page too. Now, we're still talking Ekiti elections, and there was something historical about Ekiti. Yemi has pointed out a lot of the negatives. I'm going to point out one of the positives, and the fact that for the first time in the history of Nigerian politics, you could check results online real time. This happened at the weekend, Yemi.
No, it's a good one, and I, like I said, I just pray INEC can think out the process. But the last time I was on the platform, with Festus Okoye and the head of INEC voters, the department that's into voters orientation and what have you. He said that INEC could come up with a lot of innovations and fantastic ideas to, into the electoral process, but it's up to the National Assembly to give them the enabling laws. And I ask myself, you still find a way of, you still hear things about people going to the polling booth, snapping picture of their ballots, just to finish, to conclude an ongoing transaction. So why can't just give us something just to make everything electronic? You just get electronic rather. You get to, after your accreditation, you just go to the thing, you point the party, it gets automatically transmitted to the server. It doesn't. With that will reduce the number of void votes. That would obviously go a long way in curbing vote buying. So the beavers can just have, as you're having the beavers to do in the accreditation, let's just have the logos of the parties there and the picture of the candidate. That can be done with just an improvement through software architecture on the existing software architecture of the beavers, framework, and that will happen, and we can just switch everything to electronic voting. In places where they believe they can't do that, let them still do what they want to do. At some point, either they will be left behind or they'll be forced to catch up with the rest of the country.
All right, so that's what it is. On this platform, I personally would like to say kudos to the Independent National Electoral Commission. So well. I'm happy with the conduct of that election. We're not happy with the reports of vote buying and all of that.
No, whatever happened in Ekiti was not the fault of INEC. INEC did so well.
But I want to commend everybody that was involved, especially on the part of law enforcement and INEC.
No, the law enforcement.
There's a lot of work to be done, but this is an improvement. And there's going to be another election in Osun State in a few weeks' time, and all eyes will be on Osun. Hopefully, the INEC will take lessons from this. Another thing that is worthy of note at the Ekiti elections is how voting started on time, how logistics was well handled, and I don't know if it's because they stopped putting their things in central bank. I don't know, because they said they were not going to be storing their sensitive
why should materials. When you have a particular bias, CBN going now.
Thank you very much. So, but voting was concluded
by 2 p.m.
Yeah, and this is a good thing for Nigeria. Maybe we'll finally get to the point, not now, maybe 10, 20 years from now, where we can actually vote on a normal working day.
No, but we'll get there. Isn't it curious that in United Kingdom, people still mail their votes? They put in the US, they vote early and they send it in. But that is a system that you have politicians that are not desperate. You want to try that with Nigeria? Which are desperate, unpatriotic, selfish, soulless politicians, political elites.
We can't yet. We're not that mature yet. I'm sorry. All right, it's still Political Voyage. Shola Rogers and Yemi Saka breaking it down and bringing it to you the way it should be brought. Well, the winners and losers. Another angle to the Ekiti election is Segun Oni. a former governor of the state, former member of the PDP, former member of the APC, now contesting on the platform of the SDP, garnering enough votes to come second. But, like someone analyzed, adding all the other votes together, the APC guy would still have won based on the results that were released by INEC. But that's not where I'm going. Where I'm going is, how did Segun Oni not know? Because 24 hours to the elections, he pulled out of that election.
They said he pulled out.
They said he pulled out. There's a letter to that effect from his angle and everything, stating clearly that they didn't, the faction, there were factions of the SDP, Yemi, in Ekiti, and they didn't conduct congresses and all of that. So, if he had won, it would have been an illegality.
I think we should go back to the foundation or genesis of this.
So, for someone that vast in politics, it hurts me to see him make that kind of mistake.
No, so like I said,
and I saw him in the statement. He was blaming the ruling party, but with the clout that Segun Oni has in Ekiti, he didn't need the SDP. Could have gone to any party.
No, you see, I was on Ekiti in 2019, 2020 or early 2021. And the cabman that took me to Ado for where I was coming from said to me that, it is Segun Oni. That's their next governor. So, I think Segun Oni missed it, and I guess it was not only Segun Oni, PDP too missed it when they didn't give Segun Oni the ticket. For whatever reason, I don't know. But, that was an opportunity for Adele Fayose to still stamp himself as the alpha and the omega of PDP in Ekiti State, So it's like two institutions or two persons or two parties made themselves unpopular. Segun Oni did one and PDP did the other. I don't know the other party could have gone to in
hear me? With him going to SDP a few months ago.
So the effect.
Man, I don't know.
And I think he did not, trust me. He did not campaign well.
He did. Oh my God. He had a crowd following him. I was following his campaign. He did. He traversed the entire length and breadth of the state. He actually did a good campaign. Segun Oni put in everything. But going to join a party that had such legal issues is my problem.
He could have opted for... there are a lot of parties on this news.
Several parties.
There was AD there.
I'm not sure they contested, but there's AD in Ekiti State.
There was ADC.
Even the Labour candidate, he got less than 10 votes here.
No, but the Labour candidate said they has collapsed the structure.
No. They came out to refute that. There's an official statement to that.
I know. So maybe that was what affected.
So he got less than 10 votes.
Yeah, but it's Ekiti State, and the Ekiti contest was just around the three people, Segun Oni, Oyebanji, and Kolawole.
All right, we're done with the Ekiti elections segment. Pause. Now let's talk politics, and let's talk about a new catchphrase, word, system, mode, whatever you want to call it.
Placeholder.
The placeholder.
Also
it's similar to your key holder, because your key holder holds the key that opens those important places in your life. Your car, your safe.
But not necessarily the key. It's as important
it's
as
the key holder. Because if the key holder goes missing, the key is gone. Now, Yemi, placeholder. Let's talk about it.
I think there's a need for all these guys that have gone with the placeholder thing to go look at the electoral act. I'm not so sure if they've not run foul of the extant laws. It might maybe because of the party involved. INEC can just want to overlook things. But what if any party that's interested in the election takes it up as the point at the illegality, and that brings about disqualification of turning of whatever result or victory you think you've achieved. And another thing is, if you don't have the placeholder, quote and unquote, now has to resign, vacate, and what if they don't? What if the guy now becomes ambitious, or his wife saying, I don't want to be a vice president, or he goes to bed and he thinks or probably saw a vision, or he thinks he heard from God, and God says he'll be the vice president. Will he stand down?
Have you looked at another angle? God forbid. God forbid.
Yeah.
Something happens to the principal.
Yeah, that's.
And there's a placeholder in the place. You're talking about a scenario of.
No, I'm still looking at. I'm looking at all scenarios. If anything happens now, well, for my knowledge of electoral acts, and I stand to be corrected, if anything happens now to any flag bearer, I think based on the provision of the electoral act that I know, I might need to check or refresh my memory, is who comes second, or who came second at the primaries, that will take over.
But now with a placeholder, it's the placeholder.
No, I think no.
I mean, it has to be. It's the running mate.
Is the running?
They're equal on this thing.
I think the running.
And that's why they didn't allow them submit their forms fully without putting in a placeholder.
I know. I think
a vice president.
I think what happens. I probably will need to refresh. Do a lot of digging up.
I know you need to go dig up, but for INEC to insist.
Yes, I think
that your submission is not complete until you bring the name of your vice. That supersedes the second.
But I think the vice. I think the issue of the running mate as a part. If the elections have kicked off, it becomes a beneficiary of it. Like then we will not have a replay of Faleke, Yaya Bello thing that went back and forth to court and everything. And that was why there was that amendment to the election. I think pre-election matters now. It's the person that comes second at the primaries that will take over the party's ticket, or the party might conduct a fresh primary and push another person forward. I think those are the 2-3 options left to the party.
All right, we're still talking politics right here.
But man, that's a very delicate balance to strike, because you just have to pray that nothing happens to the principal. You have to pray that nothing happens to the intentions or the arrangement or the agreement with the placeholder. And a lot of things. And sometimes some of these guys tested the waters. I think actually what I meant to do pick the Muslim for Katsina State is to test the water if it's only good Muslim to see people were embracing. Peter Obi, I don't know why he went for. I think he's still shopping. He hasn't been able to convince somebody from the northern bloc. He hasn't seen anybody from the north to give him to support his dream or key onto it. But if I want to give him free expo, if the so-called support is there from OBJ, she probably lean towards OBJ, and OBJ will tell them who to pick from the north.
All right, talking about picking vice presidential candidates, we're leaving the placeholder segment, but we're not leaving the placeholder segment. Let us now discuss, Yemi, about picking vices and partnerships, collaborations, or what have you. Now, constitutionally, a merger is no longer possible leading up to the 2023 elections, because according to the rule of law that governs our elections,
laws that governs our elections, I think this will notify 9 months.
All parties involved should have notified the Independent National Electoral Commission 9 months before the elections. So there's no merger there. But anybody that doesn't merger now is an illegality and a futile attempt at trying to wrest power from the APC or PDP. But there are other things possible, Yemi. Let's enlighten people. Let's break it down. Let's bring it out.
Oh, well, you and I had the conversation before coming on there about the so-called collaboration between AD and PDP in 2003. And that's one option open to people. Another thing they could do is let's just go into the contest and play the role of a spoiler, hoping that yes, we've done enough damages to instigate or initiate a runoff in the system or a second ballot. So at that point of second ballot, you cannot agree to form a government or national unity, or you split that cross border. Any government that comes on board must just bring everybody on board. But for me, no matter the collaboration I want to look at it, no matter the agreement or arrangement they want to go into, I'm very confident that whichever government, whichever party emerges victorious at the next dispensation, we surely not take Nigerians for granted, because this is going to be a fiercely contested election.
Fiercely contested it will be. You know that when a president has served 2 terms or whatever, it's always very crazy.
And so it's open
for
all.
Within his own immediate party and of general elections.
And it's curious, and I want people to know that I think out of all the states in northern Nigeria, which is ruled by APC, it's only 2 governors that are seeking re-election. Governor Bello Mohammed Matawale of Zamfara and Governor Zulum, Engineer Zulum of Borno. So those are the states that you might probably see will naturally should swing, especially should swing to APC. And I tell people, even if Ashajame Bolatino picks a Muslim from the north, you have 3 northerners that are Muslim on the ballot.
On the ballot already.
We have
Abubakar Atiku.
You have Rabi Kwankwaso. And you're running into which might.
But I wanted you to go more in depth on the NNPP Labour proposed merger. How can he play out? What are all the scenarios?
I think
this is our job. Let's break it down.
I don't see it.
What are the scenarios now? Kwankwaso left the PDP to set up the NNPP.
But still controls PDP in Kano.
But PDP in Kano, the word on the street is that Kwankwaso is in charge.
Yes, he's in charge.
That's the word on the street.
Yeah.
Now, let's put that aside. Kwankwaso had a senator from the APC defect yesterday to the NNPP. He has 1 or 2 people in Kano who are government people.
Shakarao too has defected.
His former nemesis and enemy is with him.
Yeah.
Shakarao.
My enemy's enemy is my enemy.
Yeah. All because of their issues with the governor Ganduje. So, Yemi, Kwankwaso to that merger looks like he's bringing more to the table than Peter Obi. Now, Peter Obi is on the other side, a former PDP member, ABGA member, back to the PDP.
No, ABGA, PDP.
PDP, ABGA, Yemi, trust me. PDP, ABGA, PDP, Labour. Kwankwaso on his own part, of course, is the same thing. PDP, APC, PDP, NNPP. So they are not new people. They are old politicians. They've been in the fray for over 15 years, both of them. But he has been a serving governor. 8 years, Peter Obi. Kwankwaso the same thing, although his own was truncated.
Yeah.
But it's also done that. He's been a principal officer of the House of Assembly. He's been an ambassador, a Nigerian ambassador. So...
you're missing the point.
Thank you.
He was also Minister of Defense.
I was coming to that, but I'm glad that you brought it. So, he seems to be holding more cards on the table than Peter Obi. But Peter Obi is very popular, especially on social media. Like, he has a cult followership. There are people who support Peter Obi who will tell you they don't care anything, they just care about Peter Obi. So, it has galvanized a new movement. And you must acknowledge that. You must acknowledge that no matter how much you think, oh, Peter Obi. No, you must acknowledge the fact that Peter Obi has more or less reached out to a new demographic. Or a demographic that exists but that has been lackadaisical.
Yeah.
So, when you juxtapose all of this together, I want you to put your entire career on the line now. Mm-hmm. How is this merger going to, this partnership or collaboration going to work?
Well, if
because you're just holding back, and I don't want you to. I want our listeners to be able to get something off it.
I'm gonna say this: if anybody is coming to the table, the person coming with a confirmed, a verified upper hand is Kwankwaso, and that's the truth. Is whether we like it or not. The Labour Party has been sleeping until Peter Obi came to give them a new lease of life. Labour Party has been there since I think 2003 or 2005. But NNPP was just from some few months ago. We could see how large and how much they've been able to have.
In 6 months.
In 6 months. Another question you want to ask yourself. Peter Obi has gone to LP. Apart from, I think, somebody from Southeast that defected to Labour Party, I don't think they've had any political bigwig, that word in Labour Party. You probably would have imagined that Labour Party should have been strategic or even more adventurous when it comes to negotiations. When Abarebe was being hedged out, I think that's one person they should have reached out to.
Come join us.
Come join Labour Party.
They let him go to ABGA.
When the Ekwemandu was, it might not want to leave the PDP, but these are people you could have, you could poach I know if Peter Obi wants to fly the agenda of Nigeria and everything, and even from his region, he should have gone into his region to poach people into the party to make it look at LP is the party that we are adopting as a region.
In fairness to him, Alex Oti is now a gubernatorial candidate on the bill of the
Alex Oti of Akwa Ibom?
No.
Abia. Well, it's a good one for Abia State. At least maybe they'll have something different or something fresh out of the three disasters that have been governors. Oji Zokalu, Theodore Oji, and the incumbent disaster, Ikpeazu.
Ouch.
So I hope, I pray maybe for the first time Abians will get something good. But on the other hand, you look at Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso has held offices that gives him the national outlook, whether we like it or not. As a senator, he has a larger national outlook than Peter Obi. As a former Minister of Defense, that is going to be very critical and key to his credentials. That means if he's coming out now, most of the service chiefs or the general that did business with him, I didn't necessarily mean illegal business, but business about coming up with scope paper, about the needs of the defense ministry, him defending the budget and the armament of the military. Most of them are either retired as we speak, or some of them are the pinnacle of their career. And what is that telling the military? Okay, it's one of us that will be there. It's one of us. He will protect our interest. When we're protecting the interest of the military, I'm not saying protecting the corrupt interest of the military or corruption going on in the military. It's about people that this guy who understands
a grasp of
the military. He's not somebody that will come and say, I will sack everybody from the generals. Somebody that knows that there's hierarchy in the military. They knows that this is the training, and so that works for him. And now to the figures. Kwankwaso it controls PDP and NNPP, so that can guarantee him 3 to 4 million votes in Kano. Kano is not far from Jigawa. He's going to have a spillover effect from Jigawa.
In the northwest.
He's going to have I think Jigawa is northeast now. I don't know how this is classified. But Katsina,
it seems to have some kind of vote on the northwest.
On the northwest, he's going to get a grip of something in Kano, and Katsina with borders Kano. That might even affect a bit of Kaduna. And if it affects Ghana, it might even spill over into a bit of Niger. So I try to look at the figures, and I'm trying to put my career on the line. Kwankwaso might Ghana like between 4 to 7 million votes. 4 to 7 million votes.
That's a lot.
It's a lot compared. If you want to go by the last figures that came out of the last election, Peter Obi did, and I keep telling you.
What figures do you think Obi can bring?
Yeah, that's what I'm coming to. You see, when people are also being cautious and careful, and being realistic when people tell me that no, Peter Obi's boss is just about social media, and ask just one simple question: those people with social media accounts, are they not existing? Are they not real? Are they not?
I don't know. Don't they have relatives?
Don't they have friends? Are they not even? Don't
they live in our communities?
Don't they have that existence to make them have it? At least they were first alive and real before they could have a Facebook account. So whether you like it or not, the buzz on Facebook will actually reflect on the voting pattern as well. Peter Obi might not even have the whole of Southeast. Might not even have any states in Southwest. Might not even have any states across the country. But I see Peter Obi gathering at least 5 to 6 million votes too.
All right, so now.
So what that leaves us is this. It gives us.
The broadcast has been posted on Facebook, and we're about to round up, but I think you should continue it.
And what that gives us is this: that you have somebody now that, if you look at the figures they will pick and the chunk they will get from. The battle is going to be North Central, South South, and Northeast. Northeast because you just have 2 states that you might say.
But the candidate of the PDP is from the Northeast.
No, it's from the Northeast. But I will say this, and I'll say this publicly.
Okay.
Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is not that loved in the North.
Wow.
Let people
he's been getting millions of votes.
He got the millions of votes last time because it was PDP and the sentiments was right.
But it's still PDP.
I want to ask a question. It was PDP was against Biodun. Many people felt as disappointed as failed. But there's another Kwankwaso that has a cult followership like Buhari that will still eat into his vote that will not give him enough to become the president.
So you see Kwankwaso splitting
the votes in in fact, if the greatest mistake or my assumption that Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu can do is to go pick his running mate from Northwest. Because you don't have a divided vote in Northwest. But the only person you can pick from Northwest that you think.
And now we're talking block votes.
You're talking block vote because Kwankwaso will divide our votes. And PDP has an existing structure in fact, Zamfara state that is a APC control state now. It might have PDP will have a decent outcome.
We'll have an inroad there.
And also now with Kwankwaso, same with Katsina.
Right.
So the Niger state is naturally a PDP state.
Yeah.
Because the founding fathers of PDP is in Niger.
Yeah.
One of the founding fathers is there. So now that Abdulolo has finished, their son has finished the 2 terms, I guess it's going to go to PDP. My thinking. Bago is popular, but it might just be there for PDP to get back into power.
All right, that is still up for discussion because there's a lot of things happening in Niger as we speak, and we can't say it yet, but we're going to keep tabs on all of these things. We are definitely coasting home. Let us have our quotes, the political quotes, and of course, this day
let me just quickly rush
politics.
Today, this day is politics. A new constitution went into effect in Paraguay, signaling the end of military rule established in the 1950s. Talking about constitution, we hope that we will get a good constitution sometime in Nigeria.
Amen.
And this quote is from, let me finish. I was distressed to notice that some of the comments, especially in social media, have crossed our national red lines by daring to put questions on our collective existence as a nation. This is a step too far. That was by President Muhammadu Buhari. But my question, President Muhammadu Buhari, is what have you done
to correct this
across board?
Social media or otherwise?
Otherwise. Because some people are making utterances on social media. Some people are carrying out activities in the real world that has crossed the national red line. They've got into church, they've killed people, they've gone into mosques, they've slaughtered people, they've gone to farms, they've defiled women and everything, and all we hear from the president is silence, which is not golden, but criminal.
All right, he has dropped his pen, and because he has dropped his pen, we are also dropping the microphone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this. Political Voyage is a political program that runs here on your Boom Radio NG. Yemi Saka?
Yeah, inshallah.
Yes. Every Monday at 12:30 to 1. And of course, we are extended because we always have things to do. The program is going to be extended eventually to 45 minutes or 1 hour, but we're testing microphone. Test it.
Yeah, you go with that thing. Hello, testing.
Hello, two. On that microphone testing note, we'd like to thank everybody that's watching out there on Facebook and on YouTube.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. God bless you. God guide you. God keep you. If you have not registered yet, it's not too late. If you are trying to switch your location of registration, it's not too late. Remember, your power is in your thumb. Forget what everybody says.
And your destiny lies in your thumb too.
In your thumb.
4 years, at least for 4 years.
You have the power. Trust me, you do. We know. Like they say, sauce. I know if you lie to you. When they say, what's your source for this story? Say I know if you lie to you now. Thank you for watching. We are really happy. God bless you guys. We'll be back sometime next week.
Same time.
Peace out. Yes, God willing. Dio volente.